was that more ragged than you would have liked tonight?
Yeah, I thought, in the first half, I thought we were solid, especially defensively. There was a lot of activity. We did a good job on the ball screen defense. And a credit to South Carolina State. I watched, them play the first two games, and they played better in this game. And they didn't die. They just kept battling, and they threw in some tough threes that kept it. And then I think we showed some young mistakes, and even some of our experienced guys with some careless turnovers or just not securing some of those offensive rebounds. But again, you're always, I tell our guys, you're always playing against the possession in the game, and those minutes are valuable when you're in there for those last few possessions for those guys. And, I wish we could have maybe separated a little more in the second half, but we'll learn from that.
Tony, if you had your druthers, would one of these three games have been more challenging, or are you guys so young that you just kind of need?
I don't know. You go on the road in that environment, and that was there, and Norfolk didn't have one of their inside guys, which affected them. These guys were coming off a tough situation. I do know what's coming on Friday, though. In GW, it's a tournament team, and obviously they went into Rutgers and beat them handily. From what I saw, 18-point game, and I know they're legit size and a high-quality team, good program. So we'll have to be ready to play, and certainly look forward to it. It'll be there's a lot of games in a short amount of time just because of how the season's starting a week later. But we'll certainly have to be ready and prepared for size, good guard play, well-coached team that's been successful.
You alluded to the first half defense. How impressed were you with the guys' effort in holding them to just 5 field goals in the opener?
Yeah, I think we put them on the line a little bit too much, but I thought we did a nice job of disrupting their ball screen. They ran a lot of ball screens, and Darian was very active in Anthony to start the game. And I just, with their size and mobility, I thought, okay, let's match up this way. Because, really, I think Mike, Darian, Anthony, any of those two of those three could always start for us. And so it might depend on matchups or just how we get going. But I thought they got us off to a good start with that, and they were trying to drive a little bit. They're actually, South Carolina State was a little more patient, maybe because we were in position in the second half. They sort of got down and let it go. But I thought we did a pretty good job of sealing gaps on penetration and playing good ball screen defense, and there was a lot of activity, and that certainly got us going. Because offensively, you're not going to – I don't care what team you're going against, not everybody can just throw knockout punches. You just got to keep being steady, making it hard for them to get the looks they want, and then, wait for little runs here and there, and thought we did that in the first half.
It seems that whatever damage teams have done to you has come from the three-point line. Is that something you need to shore up?
I think it's right now too soon to say. Certainly in that first game, that kid was they've hit some contested shots. Some have been some breakdowns. I'm talking about the JMU game, some breakdowns with rotations. The kid Short, I believe it was, from Norfolk State, kind of got going. And then this kid tonight, boy, there was a handful of them that sometimes you have to take your hat off and say, can you do that all game? But when we broke down, they made us pay. But 3-point percentage, field goal percentage defense is important to us because we want to take it with the lane. And I think with our length, we should be able to bother shots. We've followed the 3-point shooter in each game here, and that's been, I think, all 3 games. We got to watch that because you don't like to give them those. But, of course, Doug, the ability to contest those threes and not let them get rhythm is very important. And they have shot. What did they shot? I don't know what the first 2 games were, but certainly there have been some stretches where we haven't done a great job.
Are these 3 games enough of a sample size to say that Justin is a significantly better shooter? And if so, what went into that offseason? He certainly has shot the ball better in these games. And, again, they've been some good looks, feet set, that I talked about last press conference. I think all of our guys have improved. And the off season's all about physical improvement and skill development. And Justin, I know, really tried to develop a consistent shot. And so it certainly looks better, and I hope that holds up. You can't just hang your hat on and say, all I'm going to do is stand out there and shoot threes. I want him impacting the game in a bunch of ways, but that's important for us. If he can continue to be consistent, I like that. And I think you can see, a lot of the guys have just taken made subtle improvements. And that's, I think, when you get to be an upperclassman, there aren't these huge leaps and bounds. But that one certainly, from this standpoint, has been important, and that stretches it out. And we've played some unconventional games where it's been 4 guards, undersized. So when we go against different teams, it'll be interesting to see it.
You mentioned the back here. Sorry, you mentioned the late start to the season. This is what, like 3 games in 5 days or something.
Yeah,
it's
before
like an
and
NBA
8.
schedule. And
Yep.
What kind of challenge is that presenting to these guys? How do you think they're holding up?
Yeah, I told Dave Kane that we started just for some reason the season was you couldn't play your first game a week later, so there's a 7-day window last year that we had to play these games. Now we don't, and then obviously with our longer break over exams and all that stuff, we have to get them in there in a quick time. So 4 and 8 is a lot. The challenge is you don't have as much prep time. You got a lot of prep time leading up to it, and then bang, you're playing. And that's where I think the depth has been good. And I'm glad we've got to. I think this was important tonight from a minute standpoint to be as ready as we can on Friday. But you don't know a lot about the opponents anyway, so it just comes down to the execution part of it. And I think it's good for your guys. It just gets them playing and getting in the kind of game conditioning that we'll need.
Tony, it seems like Malcolm was very much a distributor, getting other guys involved the first 2 games, and maybe a little bit more aggressive tonight. Was that part of the plan, or
Yeah,
did
no,
you see
well,
it that way?
I wish I could say I told him exactly to do that, and he just sensed that. And I think that's what a good player has to do. It was an interesting defense they were playing. It was, you'd look, is that a man-to-man? Is it just a zone? Are they matching up? Is it a 3-2? And it was kind of changing. So we felt like we needed to get a little more movement. At times we were stagnant against it, and I thought Malcolm, we moved him a little bit, and he saw the seams and attacked. He's a strong driver. He really attacked, and I thought that was important for us because not that we shot it poorly from 3, but we needed to get some stuff going to the rim, and he did a good job, and I think our offensive rebounding also was helpful against it.
Coach, one of the questions coming into the preseason was defensive rebounding without Akil. Through 3 games, kind of what's your evaluation there? Is the consistency what you wanted to?
It's been okay. I think our tests are coming in that regard. I felt like we need to secure the ball better at times. A couple times those little guards, will rake it away, or I'd like to see us be strong-handed rebounders, if that makes sense. I think sometimes we're, I don't know if there's such thing as like a fingertip rebounder or tiptoe. I want to just see us snatch those and grab them, and I feel like that, to be able to go up in traffic and get them. I think actually Justin has made a jump in that regard. He's more mindful of that because he can go up in a crowd and get it with his strength. Our guards, Malcolm has that ability too to do it. And so Mariel actually, he looks like he can rebound at a good level. So we're needing our guards, but that's something we've addressed. We know we'll need that with definitely Mike, Anthony, and it'll be important because we say one and done in terms of your ability. When they got second chances, that hurt us in this game. It breaks you a little bit.
Okay, 2 more questions, Jerry.
Kind of piggybacking on that, what do you think of Toby so far this season, and are you anxious to see how your front court performs against GW?
For sure. I think, again, it looks like Justin, like all these guys, he's more mobile and he's stronger. I think I can see that. I don't know if you guys can. And I do like that he's going up and rebounding on the defensive end better. He's worked pretty hard in the offseason, and I think he's taken steps and has matured. And we'll need all of them because of, again, sometimes with guys like Mike at, being a 7-footer, these unconventional size, teams you're going against those games, they can be challenging because he's sometimes guarding 6'5", 6'7" that are mobile, and when it's a little more traditional, I think that'll be better for him.
Okay, last question, Chuck.
Anthony has admitted that he had a lot of catching up to do defensively when he came here from South Carolina. How much progress has he made at that end of the court?
He's better. I think all of them are better, but they're not there yet. I think that they have to, defense you're always on. I tell them you can't lapse, and there's a few too many lapses, but there's less than there have been in the past, so we'll say that's progress, but it has to, what I tell our guys, against the better competition as you go, you can't have those, they'll make you pay. They'll exploit you, the rebounding, the not being in gaps, not being alert, and that's what we're soon getting close to finding out, but they've definitely, from a year ago, all of them have made some strides.